Thanks, Joss.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
November 8th. This is a
Yes,
meeting
I'm
of
here.
Brookhaven Local Development Corporation. It is 2:38. We have on the call following board members: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Grucci, Mr. Polakowski, Mrs. Scheit, Mr. Trotter, and Mr. Braun. The quorum is present. Lisa?
Yes. This meeting is being convened in accordance with Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, effective September 2nd, 2021 through January 15th, 2022, permitting local governments to hold public hearings by telephone and video conference.
For the CFO's report, Lori, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, included in your package is a operating statement for the month ended November 2021 as comparison to budget. For the LDC for the month of November, the only income we had was the investment income, and our expenses are just our recurring monthly expenses in line with our budget. Year to date, we're at a net loss of $69,070,000. But we're still under our budget projection of a year-to-date loss of $96,000. Is there any questions?
None.
Not from here.
Hearing none, a motion to accept her report, please.
So
So
move,
moved.
Anne Marie.
Seconded, Gary Cole.
On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci with us? Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter?
Yes.
Braun votes yes. Motion is carried. I erred earlier and said Mr. Grucci was present. He has not yet joined the meeting. Motion carried. Lori, you had one other thing?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that all time payments have been made timely for the LDC in accordance with contractual or legal requirements.
Thank you. Lisa, anything else?
Yes, the proposed 2022 LDC meeting schedule was presented. It's in your packets. If those dates are agreeable with everyone, I would ask that we adopt them.
I don't think we need a motion. Everybody okay with that? They're always subject to change depending on circumstances at the time.
We typically do pass a resolution formalizing these in January. So I guess it's maybe just the January date that really needs to be set. And I think, Bill, do we need a motion for the meeting date?
You can do it now. Just do it.
Okay.
Can I hear a motion then?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter?
Yes.
Braun votes yes. Motion carries.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is executive session. Joss, if you would just leave this open for the board members, if you would go into the separate link that's been,
You have to stay away.
Oh. I forgot. The reason we're going into executive session is to discuss pending litigation. So,
I need a motion.
Are we staying here?
no, Marty, we're going to go into executive session. So Joss is going to leave this open because we have people in the waiting room. So they're going to be able to stay in. Anybody else who joins will see that it's an active meeting, but everybody else that needs to be in executive session, Joss sent a link.
It
Follow
just went
that.
through.
So
It just-
close out of this meeting, go into executive session
Yes.
for board members.
But I need a motion.
Yes.
I'll make sure to make that motion.
Motion.
Thank you, Frank. Second.
Seconded, Gary.
On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Scheit,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter?
Yes.
Fred Braun votes yes. Motion carries. We are in executive session.
Okay, we'll see you in executive session.
We have to leave. James.
We have executive session.
You have to adjourn the LDC meeting,
We
I'll
have to
make
do
a
a
motion to go back into the LDC meeting.
right?
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Hi, sweetheart.
Is there a second?
Yes. Second,
Start
Mark
On the vote,
Callahan.
Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci?
Yes.
Polakowski?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes,
Mr. Trotter? Mr.
Tomorrow,
Braun,
okay?
Yes, we're out of executive
Frank,
session.
you're muted.
Further to discuss the local development corporation. I need a motion to adjourn.
okay.
So moved. Gary
If
Polakowski.
you're talking,
Thank you.
please.
Second, Felix Grucci.
Second, thank you. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Shay,
Yes.
Mr. Trotter? Mr.
Yes.
Braun, Yes, we are adjourned. All right, it is 3:28, Wednesday, December 8th, is the meeting of the Town of Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency. The following members are present: Mr. Callahan, Mr. Grucci, Mr. Polakowski, Mrs. Shea, Mr. Trotter, Mr. Braun. The quorum is present.
This meeting is convened in accordance with Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, effective September 2nd, 2021 through January 15th, 2022, permitting local governments to hold public meetings by telephone and video conference. Lori?
Okay. Included in your packets is the operating results for the IDA for the month of and year to date for November. During the month of November, we had some activity. We had on the Commons, had a sales tax extension in revenue. East Patchogue Apartments had a application fee. Team Nina had a project fee increase. So we pulled in revenues of 17,000. Our expenditures are in line with what we budget on a monthly basis. And is there any questions on the information included in your packet?
Questions for Lori?
No.
Hearing none, a motion to accept her report, please.
Motion.
Second,
Second,
Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Polakowski,
Yes.
Shea,
yes.
Trotter, Mr. Braun
Yes.
votes yes, motion carries. Lori, you have one other item, or maybe two?
Yes, yes. I wanted to mention that all payments that are legally required and contractually required have been made on a timely basis for the month ended November 30, 2021. Any questions?
No surprise, Lori.
Okay.
Lori, anything further?
Okay, thank you, Lori. The next item on our agenda, we have a series of resolutions. The first resolution on the agenda is for American Region, Inc. Included in your package was a cost benefit analysis, a pilot, and a letter that we received. They are requesting an increase in sales and use tax because the project costs increased from their original application. We did a public hearing today. There were no comments. Did you want to add anything?
No.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
No.
Just to remind everybody, this is the American Region is the pharmaceutical manufacturer in the Shirley Industrial Park. And they're doing an expansion of their existing facilities.
If no questions, take a motion.
Motion.
Second,
Thank you. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Grucci,
Yes.
Polakowski,
Yes.
Shea,
yes.
Mr. Trotter.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries.
The next item on the agenda is for MDS Business Ventures LLC / MS Packaging. To remind everybody, this is the packing company. They make, I'm grossly simplifying this, but cardboard boxes for other companies to use to pack and ship their materials. The cost benefit analysis and the pilot is included in your packets, and there was no change. This is the original application, so this is a final authorizing resolution. Howard, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just a reminder about it, this is actually the second project that they're doing with us.
Yes, they did. This is I think 140,000 square foot facility, and they have an existing, bless you,
That's you.
70,000 square foot facility on Zorn Boulevard, and now they're doing a second facility in the Shirley Industrial Park.
Did we drive by that?
We drove by both the existing building,
And then,
they're across from the Caithness Power Plant, and then we
Okay.
also drove by the land where they're going to be building.
Which is basically across from Uncle Wally's.
Yes.
I went
they
by.
have the, they have the signs, the public notice signs or something in the woods?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're on the north side of that industrial park. And this is a final authorizing resolution.
Motion,
So moved.
is there a second?
Second. Harry?
Thank you. We'll confuse people. Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
yes,
Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
yes,
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Ron votes yes, that motion carried.
Also included in your agenda is a resolution for the ABR SP Brookhaven JV LLC project. To remind everyone, this is a spec industrial warehouse and distribution project, also located in the Shirley Industrial Park. We had a public hearing this morning. There were no comments. The cost benefit analysis and the pilot are also included in your packets. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Motion,
so move,
thank you. Second,
second, Felix Grucci,
thank you. Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
yes,
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
yes,
Mr. Callahan.
Yes.
Ron votes yes, motion carried.
The next item on your agenda is for the NP/Winters Long Island Industrial LLC project. To remind everybody, this is a spec industrial and warehouse facility, rail, and the plan is to have it rail accessible. Included in your packet is the cost benefit analysis, the pilot, an updated application, and a feasibility study. There was a public hearing this morning, and there were in fact comments. Those have been sent to everyone in advance of this meeting. Does anyone have any questions?
couple of questions if I can. Did I read correctly that they're proposing 1,000 jobs will be created from this project, or did I misread that number?
Oh, you read that accurately. It's, they estimate, they gave us a range, and the low end of the range was, I believe, 1,093 jobs. And that's what I included as our, as the estimate for the cost benefit analysis. 194, maybe it was 1,094, 1,093, something like that.
Okay,
you hit it on the nose, Lisa, I'm looking at it and it's 1,094,
Okay,
you got it.
thank you, Anne Marie.
Is,
there's been some scuttlebutt about a transfer station. Do we have an application in the front of us for a transfer station?
No, Felix, we do not. The application in front of you is for approximately 2.4, 2.5 million square feet of industrial distribution warehouse space. The plan is for 4 separate buildings, and the intention is to phase this in. So it's not as though it's one large building that will be built all at once, but there's no application for a transfer station.
And the industrial warehouse facilities are fulfill the requirements of the zoning of this piece of property.
Yes, this property is zoned L1, and that's an appropriate use of an L1 property.
Thank you.
is their attorney going to make a presentation?
They made it at a previous meeting.
Okay.
So this is a final authorizing resolution. We typically don't have a presentation made. They
So this-
are,
Are they in the waiting room?
if you'd like us to bring them in, they can answer any questions that you have.
Sure, that'd be good.
Okay, Joss, will you bring them in, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the board.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Peter.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brent Miles. I'm one of the founding partners of North Point Development. I'm based in Kansas City, and nice to meet everyone via Zoom.
To meet you.
I'm happy to walk through any presentation, any questions that you may have. I just wanted to say, for those of you who don't know us, we're the country's largest privately held industrial developer. We do projects like this from, I used to say Staten Island to Sacramento, and hopefully soon can say Long Island to Sacramento. We're excited about this project, obviously large capital investment. I know one question was asked about jobs and our projections. That's based on a national average. And so we feel confident in those job creation numbers. Like I said, we're excited about the project, excited to invest here in your community, excited to create these jobs. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may specifically have, or if you'd like to walk through the site plan or anything that you'd have, I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah, Brent, thank you very much. I think if you were listening to us previous to you getting on,
yeah.
There has been a lot of concern or misinformation potentially, as I hear it here, with regard to the relationship between another project. And I'd like to clear that up on the record. If you could do that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to clear it up however you'd like me to clear it up. Obviously, we're not in the business of developing transfer stations. That's not what we do, and that's not what we're building here. That's not what the application is before you. So, let the record state that, please.
Thank you.
Let me could you go over the project a little bit so that we all have a better understanding of what you are going to do? I've certainly read the material, we've discussed it, but in a simplified way.
Yeah, very, very simplistically, we build state-of-the-art warehouses all over the country. We own 102, 103 million square feet of facilities like this all over the country. We'll build one or two at a time on a speculative basis. We obviously, the size and the type of these facilities will lend themselves most likely to what I would say Fortune 500 or Fortune 250 companies that will come here and establish in your community. And we'll build out this project in a number of years. Class A, what I'd call institutional grade warehouses. So these are something that we do every day. We have thousands of people who come to work in our buildings every day, and that's who we'll have here.
And Mr. Trotter, just to confirm the location, it's on the north side and south side of the Long Island Railroad tracks, just to the east side of Sills Road and south of the expressway. There are large parcels on both sides. We commonly call them parcels B and C on the north side and parcel D on the south side. Parcel D also contains an easement to the town, which is contiguous to the Long Island Railroad tracks. But the track already exists on the north side of the railroad tracks and would be extended to parcels B and C. And we're also looking to put track on the south side.
Thank you, Peter.
So I have a question. So basically, this is the property where the railroad is already coming into with the rail over in Yaphank?
It is on the north side. So on the B and C parcels, it comes in through parcel A, and there is an existing right of way to go through through some LIPA property into parcels B and C.
So when they build these, you'll be taking advantage of the railroad, obviously, to bring the goods and services into Long Island instead of using the trucks.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay, so we did a bus tour of some of our projects the last week or two. I think it was probably 2 weeks ago. And believe it or not, while we were there, we saw the trains heading out with the cargo. I mean, happened to be perfect timing, to tell you the truth. So
I'm sure somebody arranged that for you.
I don't know how that worked out, but it was nice to see that because, again, with all the trucks that are on the Long Island Expressway, congestion and everything else, it would be something that would definitely benefit the community in the way of, or I should say Long Island in general, of bringing these merchandise that you guys are going to be bringing, whether it be lumber, Home Depot goods and things of that nature, I think it's a win-win plus the amount of jobs that you guys are creating. So I think it's a good project.
Thank you.
What, while we're talking about that there, what kinds of products or supplies would, or companies would you be looking to bring into the warehouses, to give us a better sense of what, how we're keeping them off the roads and on the rail?
Yeah, so, let me be clear, when I say these names, these are not folks we're talking to, so I don't want there to be any, speculation if I use a company's name, that's who is
Or
coming.
some of your other tenants.
Yeah, so I would just tell you that, our largest tenants include like Chewy.com, Home Depot, Lowe's, Adidas, Patagonia. We just did a rail served building in Kansas City for an Austrian plastics injection molder. So these would be the kinds of companies that you would see that we would target here. So you'll see a mix of kinds of companies and what they use the rail for. And, rail served buildings, I will just tell you an example. In Dallas, I just did a large Home Depot facility of 2 million square feet with them. I just did this rail facility I mentioned with this Austrian plastics pellet injection molder. So those would be the kinds of companies that we would target here. That you nailed it, Mr. Callahan. It is, we're looking at this rail to commodity to truck, off the road kind of merchandising.
Those of us who lived here long enough understood that we got rid of rail over the course of the last 40 years. All those rail sidings and all the rail capability that we had, we managed to lose it. Now we find out we need it again.
Mr. Miles, I don't anticipate that you would be bringing in wind turbine blades. They seem to be getting longer than airplane wings as we speak. But you may be aware that there's a significant amount of offshore wind installation is going to be going off our South Shore in the next 10 or 15 years. And that could be another potential client for you, could be the companies that are going to be building out all of those wind farms with the astonishing number of components that need to be delivered on site.
Yeah, I would just respond to that. We lease buildings all over the country to companies every day that supply, parts and machines. It's not just the blades. There's other things that go in, right?
Many.
There's many parts. So whether that's a GE, I have a large facility with their aviation team in Cincinnati. I just did a lease with a huge solar company. We have companies that supply parts to the wind turbines. So somewhere in our 450 buildings across the country, we supply, companies like that every day.
Good to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Miles, this is Felix Grucci.
Yes.
I think I have 3 questions for you. The first one is, you're going to be building these buildings. Will you retain ownership of them throughout the life of the building?
Yeah, that is our strategy. And that's why we like this site, is the ability to do that. So we rarely sell. I know sometimes that gets thrown in my face to say, well, I know you sold this building. It is a rare occasion that we sell a building. But our strategy is always a long-term ownership.
And the computations that you've made for the job creation, is that before or after the construction phase?
Yeah, so I don't have the computation in front of me, but I will tell you, with a park of this size with 1,094, that has to not include the construction.
Mr. Grucci, in the MRB report, there are construction numbers broken out separately. So these numbers that we're talking about are the operating employment, not the construction employment. The construction employment will certainly be a higher number than that for the period of construction.
And did I read correctly that the average salary would be in the mid to high 50s?
I don't want to correct. I thought we had said low to mid 50s, but maybe it was mid to high 50s, but that does not surprise me. Again, we look at a national average. We put the local data analytics to it. We look at your labor shed of a 20 and 30 minute radius. That's how we come up with the numbers and the jobs and the salary. So that would not surprise me if we reach that goal.
And my last question for you, sir, is
Mhm.
both Frank and I live in in or near the community that you're proposing the project in. And personally, I think it's a good project, and you know, I'm not here to knock it down, but the community is concerned over a few things. Whenever IDAs issue pilot payments, especially on a project of this size, the community starts to take notice because what they're seeing is the loss of future tax dollars coming into the school districts, the ambulance companies, the fire departments, libraries, et cetera. And I know that you've asked for a 20-year pilot and we've proposed a 15. Is there any way that you can go less than the 15-year project, a 15-year pilot?
Yeah. So, why I asked for 20, I want to be, pretty upfront about that, and why I ultimately agreed on the 15 is that I think that we actually have a mutual interest there, which is, I think the companies that come here we do, like I said, we do this all over the country, but I think the companies that come here are coming here for a couple of reasons, and they want to make long-term investments, right? Let's say it's that Austrian injection molder, right? They want to make a long-term investment here. So selling the certainty of, the 15 years because of the capital investment they're going to put inside the building, I think that's what's lost a little bit in this, is that the companies that come here are going to be investing even more inside these buildings, right? So they want that surety, and they want that sense of surety of what this is going to look like for the next 15 years because of their investment. So my plea was simply because of that, is to say, I think that you want it. I think I want a long-term investment. I want a long-term lease. I want a company that's going to be invested here and sticky here and employ people for a really long time. That's why I was pushing for more years, ultimately deciding on the 15.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kind of going off of what Felix said and concerns in the community. The good thing about the project is it has no impact on the school district with regard to additional students and that kind of effect. So that's certainly a very positive. When you look at fire EMS services, both we have fire departments in that area, and we have ambulance company in that area, separate districts. They potentially have an impact with a project like this. Have you met with the fire departments or ambulance companies in that community?
Yeah, and just because it's how your screen is labeled, I'm just going to call you Frank. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, Frank is a good name. Yeah.
Okay. I just never want to be offensive.
I get called a lot of things, but Frank is what I go with.
So Frank, I think, what we looked at in our thinking, so the answer is we've been interacting, with this. We always interact with police and fire, and we primarily start with that of, here's our building, here's our sprinkler system, here's our standing pressures. So mostly our interaction is one of technical. Do you have the ability to service buildings like this? And I'll just say bluntly, sometimes that comes with, well, we sure could use an upgrade for a truck or this. And I would just say that more times than not, we become a community partner with the I'll say township or fire department. I don't remember exactly how you guys are done here, but that's something that is, because it protects our building and protects our community at the same time. So that is my opening of saying we will most likely be doing something with the fire department here.
So as of now, you have not, correct?
As of
but it's a common practice for you to do that.
That's
yes?
right. That's
okay.
correct, sir.
So I can be reassured that you're going to meet, and and again, the way Long Island's divided might be very different than Kansas City, for example. You are in at least 3 fire department districts, meaning Yaphank, Brookhaven, Yaphank, Brookhaven, Bellport, and somebody else, I believe.
Might even be East Patchogue, Hagerman.
Yeah, Hagerman, that's what I was thinking, and Hagerman. So you're probably within those 4 districts, certainly with mutual aid in a serious situation, you would be at least in those 4 districts. So, I would encourage you and, ask you to make that, something that, that's done sooner than later. The
Yeah.
second part of that is the South Country Ambulance Company covers the whole district, the whole area that you're in. And I would ask that in addition to whatever fire departments are affected, I'd be happy to help direct you in those directions. South Country Ambulance Company is in that. And, so, that is certainly a concern. Maybe my background in emergency services relays into that. But I would ask that, that would be something that would be done.
Yeah, so maybe let me answer your question a little bit better. Our civil and design team have met with 2 of the fire districts here from a fire flow, fire protection standpoint.
Which ones?
We met with, I just got a text, so people are telling me this.
Okay, that's good.
Yapping and Brookhaven.
Okay.
And so to answer your question, there's we always see these as 2 things. One, there's the technical side about fire flows, fire pressures and everything. And then there's usually the money conversation, community aid. And then typically we're unpeeling that of the mutual aid and who has what. And so we just haven't got to that second step, but the technical side, we have met with 2 of the fire districts.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. So you will be meeting with them and, and the ambulance company
We
sooner
will.
than later.
We will.
Okay. And, always a concern, they're going to be reading about something that just got passed and they're going to say, I know nothing about it. Again, being part of the community and concerned about, fire EMS, I would want to make sure that, and I appreciate your reassurances in that area.
Yep. For sure.
Let me see what else I got. Let me ask you, with regard to the, coming before this board and asking for the pilot, the consideration that you are asking for. If we did not grant this, would you be going ahead with this? And why do you need to have, the incentives that we are being provided in this request?
Right. So I think I'll probably pair off a little bit of my answer to Felix, if that's okay. So would we be going ahead? The answer is no. I know that was a question earlier today as well. We would not. And why we would not is we want the certainty. That's obviously why we did this, to make this capital investment. We feel that the pilot is appropriate to do that and to give us the surety to make that large capital investment here in the community. So we would not. Obviously, as you've seen, the site has not developed. I think people have wanted it to develop for a really long time. We think now is the opportunity to do that.
I have a question.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Frank.
no, go ahead, and then I'll come back.
You finish up. No, it's
I'll be
fine.
back, Brett.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one question. Basically, we're taking a facility that we drove past. There's no buildings there, no nothing. So even though they're not going to be providing tax benefits in the beginning, what would be the taxes on this property when it's done in the 15th year? Does anybody have what that's going to be? Giving back to the community?
I
Fire
do.
department, the emergency
Yeah.
services, the school districts, and all the things that are not getting any of these benefits today?
Yeah, and one of the things Brent brought up is when they do meet with these organizations, they can figure out, do they have the right equipment to be able to respond appropriately in the instance that something does happen. And if not, they're going to talk about that and try to make them whole with regard to those kinds of issues. That's really important.
Correct.
Lisa, I believe you have that number.
Just curious.
Yes, and just those conversations aren't really part of this discussion or this. Yeah, that's not part of the IDA's role.
I get it, but I think it's an opportunity, since we're at a public hearing, to have that kind of discussion, even if it's not to reassure people that are on this call or not. So I think it's a good discussion.
So I just want to let you guys know, though, there's not 4 fire districts involved in this property. I'm pretty
Three?
sure that it's just Brookhaven and Yaphank. I don't believe that I think it's just 2. So I just wanted to put that out there so everybody was aware. And, it's an estimate. This is looking into the future. But at the end of our agreement, I think the full taxation will be roughly $14 million. So
Big.
And what's the
I
total?
guess you could buy a few school books with that.
There you go. Yeah.
If there are no further questions,
No, I got a question. I want to clarify because you just corrected me with regard to the 4 districts and that that there were only 2 districts. But I can reassure you that if anything goes on there, there will be mutual aid with the other 2 districts for a
Oh.
total of 4 districts, number 1. Number
Or
2
12
is,
districts,
number
depending.
2
It can always
is
be
if
more.
something happens there, South Country Ambulance is going to have to respond to that situation. So that wasn't mentioned also. So just for the record,
is there anything else?
I'd just like to check my shopping list here and give me 1 second, please. How long will it take to build this project out?
Yeah, Frank. So to put it in perspective, to build one of these buildings takes about 12 months. I don't know if you've seen one of these concrete and steel buildings be built, but it's pretty amazing of, really how fast they take. So 12 months. So I will most likely build 2 on a speculative basis, as is my plan. And then as they lease up, pull the trigger on the other ones as the market, develops, right? So, everybody always asks this question, Frank, how long is this going to take you? I think that if this takes more than 5 years to be fully built and leased up, I think that would be very conservative. I think it'll be less.
And you're going to be building these as you get tenants, not that you're going to build, the total warehouses and then try to fill the vacant warehouses, correct?
What I will do is I will start them on a speculative basis without a tenant.
Okay, yeah.
And I always describe it like this: it's a house, but the kitchen and the bath and the closets aren't done. So it'll be done enough for you to see it, and you can still put your touch on it at the end.
Excellent.
Mhm.
And just going back to our original question, and maybe this isn't a question for any of the attorneys who feel the obligation to speak. With
Can't help
regard,
ourselves.
and that's never a problem for an attorney. So, with regard to the misinformation, with regard to this being a transfer station application, which we know it's not and has nothing to do with it, is there any relationship between the transfer station that they're all concerned about and your project?
There is a feature of common ownership where Winters Brothers is a minority partner in this entity, which is developing this property. That is the sole connection.
Okay. And if any time this suddenly became part of a transfer station, or that it was decided that it was going to be in conjunction, I think the town attorney could answer this best with regard to there would be a whole process that would have to, public process.
What's before you can't suddenly become a transfer station. When the stipulation of settlement was crafted in the federal court, it required a voluntary DEIS. And thereafter, the town studied that, and there was a negative declaration under secret. That studied warehouses. That's all that can be built under the current review right now. If this were to come to the town for a transfer station, it needs a change of zone from L1 to L2. None of that is before the town. There's no application of that before the town. What you have before you is compliance with the 2014 stipulation of settlement in the federal lawsuit, in which all CEQA was done and studied for warehouses and rail-related warehouses.
Right.
This plan before you complies with that. There is no transfer station before you. No amount of people saying that is going to make that so. I think we've learned that over the last few years. You can't have alternative facts. They don't exist.
Thank you, Counselor. That's what I was looking for you to put on the record, and I appreciate that.
I'd like to entertain a motion, final authorizing resolution for NP Winters Long Island Industrial LLC.
I'll make the motion, Felix Grucci.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Marty Callahan.
All right, on the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
Yes,
Mr. Trotter,
Yes,
Ron votes yes, motion is carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
And again, I would like to thank this board and the staff of the IDA. As always, you're a great board to come before, and thank you for the attention you've given to this project.
Good luck.
Peter.
Congratulations. Go
Thank
get
you.
them.
Thank you. Bye. Happy holidays.
So the next item on the agenda is for Middle Country, a request from Middle Country Meadows. The letter was included in your package. They've asked for an increase. They've told us that they're going to need an increase in their mortgage, and there will be a subsequent increase in the mortgage recording tax exemption. And just to remind everybody, this is a project. It has not yet closed, but you authorized it a while ago now for housing on Middle Country Road in,
Between Centeridge and Sylvan.
I think it's in Selden. I'm pretty sure it's in Selden.
The old batting range, I think. Middle Country Road, right past the old batting. No?
I think it's, so, I'm sorry.
Further west.
It's east of Nichols, but west of,
By the Starbucks, right?
by the Starbucks. Yes,
By
that's what,
Starbucks, which is east of the batting range. Not east, west of the batting range.
okay. And so they increased their mortgage from approximately $29 million to approximately $34.5 million and asked for the subsequent increase in the mortgage recording, the partial mortgage recording tax exemption.
Questions? Motion?
Motion?
Thank you, Frank. Second,
Second, Felix Grucci.
There you go.
on the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit. Ms. Scheit?
She's muted.
Sorry,
Mr.
didn't want you to hear me twiddling my thumbs. Yes,
Mr. Trotter?
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes, that motion is carried as well. Lisa, I'll turn it back to you for your items.
Okay, we have a couple of items on, still outstanding on the agenda. The first is Global Tissue Group. They have requested a change of their, they are hoping to have a change in their ownership structure to a tenant in common structure, and they'll, with a new LLC. And they gave us preliminary information on that. Bill actually just stepped out for a second, but
Doesn't change our pilot, doesn't change our deal at all.
right. It's just a change in their structure.
And that's a notification. We don't need a resolution on that, or you
You
want?
know, I think we should do a resolution. I'm not 100% if we need it or not, but I'd rather have it
Okay.
if we do need it.
May I have a resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Felix.
Second. Anne Marie.
On the vote, Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Mr. Scheit,
Yes,
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. That motion is carried.
We just passed the resolution for Global Tissue.
Oh, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a request that we received from Ronk Hub Phase 1. Basically, I think this is more just, I think they're required to inform us of this, but they are changing their mortgage. They're moving their mortgage to Freddie Mac for a permanent mortgage of $199,040, what can I say? About $199,000 million. That's why I keep saying thousand, sorry. $1 million mortgage. I couldn't get it out right. They're not requesting any other benefits. Bill, do we need a motion for this?
Just a motion to approve the refinancing.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the refinancing.
So moved.
Lisa,
Oh, I'm
Lisa,
sorry.
did I understand you say it's $199 million mortgage?
Yes.
Yes, about the sixth time I did get that.
And no, they're not asking for.
I just wanted to be clear on the number.
Doesn't
Bill
change
said-
anything, right?
Bill just said they're not asking for any other benefits. No, they're not asking for a mortgage recording tax, a partial mortgage recording tax exemption.
They're just letting us know they're doing this.
We just have to join and grant. the
Yeah.
mortgage.
You're going to join in granting the
We
mortgage.
do need a motion.
So moved.
second,
Thank you, Mr. Trotter. On the vote, Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes.
Polakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Scheit,
Yes,
Trotter.
Yes.
Yes, and that motion is carried.
Staying on the topic of Ronk Hub, we received a retainer agreement for thank you for the eminent domain from Essex, Hefter, Angel, D'Italia, and Pasca. So I have the retainer agreement, but I would like
Only for the Mitch property.
yes, only for the parcels, only for certain parcels having to do with the Ronkonkoma Hub project. Those owned by the Mensch family.
Right, and that money is paid by the developer, not by through IDA funds, for the record.
Okay.
But we do need a resolution to accept them.
And give me permission to sign the agreement, the retainer.
So moved, Felix Grucci.
Thank you. Second,
second, Anne Marie.
thank you. Mr. Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes,
Polakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Scheit,
Yes,
Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Ron votes yes. That motion is carried.
The next item on the agenda is the 2022 meeting schedule. It's been sent to everyone in advance. Does it look agreeable?
And please note, the first meeting is January 12th,
we're still doing Zooms at that time?
unless directed by Albany to the contrary.
The current statute expires on January 15th, so yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion it's gonna be extended.
Oh, I think so too.
But it's gotta be done by the legislature once they're back in session.
Because I'll most likely be down south then. I wanted to be able to participate, obviously, but if it's an in-person meeting, I won't be able to.
Well, the 12th is gonna be via Zoom, so you'll be in for that one.
You'll be good for that
Yes.
one.
Okay,
but we do want you to be able to stay in Florida.
either that or you guys come down to Florida and we'll have the meeting down there.
What a great idea.
Can we do it in person?
Sure. Balcony's big enough, it'll hold us all.
All right.
So I think we need a resolution accepting the
Yes.
meeting schedule.
Motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Trotter,
Yes.
Ms. Scheit,
Yes,
Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Grucci,
Yes,
Callahan,
Yes.
Mr. Braun votes yes. Motion carries.
I only have two other things I want to mention. For those of you who have not yet got your board assessments in, please fill them out and send them in. And it looks as though we are going to need a special meeting sometime next week. So I just want to give everybody a heads up. Should we throw out some dates or-
Probably Thursday or Friday.
Yeah,
It will be short. I would suspect we'll try to do it at 9 o'clock in the morning. If it takes more than a half an hour, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
this is,
As it relates to two projects, those haven't been firmed up yet. Not new projects.
Yeah, I'd be good at 9 o'clock on the 16th because I have a board meeting shortly after that. And the 17th, I got graduation at Stony Brook, which is early. So
it doesn't necessarily have to be at 9 a.m. if that doesn't work for everybody
9 a.m. would be great if we could do it
on the 16th.
on the 16th. For me,
How about everybody else on the 16th? Do you have your calendars handy?
16th doesn't, well, if it's really short, I can step out of another meeting for 20 minutes or something like that.
As I said, hopefully won't be more than half an hour.
Okay,
If
9 a.m. As long as you don't mind me in my pajamas, it's fine.
If it's at 9 a.m., guys,
Camera off.
I should be okay. Otherwise, I'm in flight.
Marty, you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Does
Felix, we're gonna envy you your pajamas.
8:30 work better for everyone?
8:30.
Yeah.
That's fine. Whatever
8:30
time
would be-
everybody else is fine.
All
If it's a
right,
quick
let's-
one, if it's a quick
Let's
one. it's
tentatively set it for 8:30 on Thursday,
Okay.
and we'll
Okay.
confirm that to everybody as soon as we can.
Howard, does that work for you?
Yes,
Muted, Howard.
yes.
Howard will have a long drive from his upstairs to downstairs.
No, I don't want to tell you where I'll be.
We don't want to know.
I'm going to visit my kids in Florida.
Oh, that's a
There you
good,
go. Good for you.
that's a good one.
Oh,
Correct.
around the corner from Felix.
A little further away from Felix.
So-
He's a little
so
further
we-
south than I am.
Thomas.
So we'll shoot for the 16th at 8:30 a.m.
Sure.
Joss, will you work on putting that together?
Any possibility it could be at 8?
It works for me.
Let's not get crazy now.
Do I hear 5
He may not
a.m.?
have his
Remember, we
pajamas.
used it at 7:45.
Yes.
He may not have his pajamas on at that
Back to
time.
those days.
I'm good at 8, whatever.
I'm good at 8. 8 o'clock's good for me.
Terry will send out a nice dessert to everybody by PDF, okay?
All right. there you
PDF
go.
dessert.
Felix,
PDF.
I'll arrange for coffee delivery for you.
You're a
Okay.
sweetheart. Thank you.
So we're going to shoot for 8 o'clock on the 16th.
16. Yep,
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Lisa, anything else?
we're good.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Well, I
There you
just
go.
want to, some of you will be joining us. No. Some of you will be joining us later for a little bit of food. And we look forward to that. Some of you cannot, and I wish you and your families a healthy and happy holiday season. On that note.
Thank you. Same to everybody. Thank
Happy
you.
holidays to
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
I hope you will all drink a drink for me.
We
I'm gonna
will,
miss you. All you guys are not coming.
please, before you go, a motion to adjourn.
So
Motion.
moved.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays and a healthy new year.
Yes.
Thank
You
you,
too.
Brian.
Happy Hanukkah to all. Bye
Take
now.
care. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.